Hello and welcome back. This is the fifth and last in a short series in which I introduce the Empyrean Deck. And in each of these videos, I'm introducing one card. In this one, I'll be talking about bondage, and I'll say something general about the cards. You may recall I said I was going to use this video to say something about the layout, about how to read a series of cards, and I've realized that that's impossible to do in 5 minutes. I'm going to have to save that for a different and much longer video. And instead, I'm going to talk about something that's arguably more important and that you really have to know in order to get started with the deck. And that is that some of these cards are curses. Now, I said before that every single one of these cards is a blessing, represents some way in which your life can be made better for some specific period of time in some way. And that's true, but there's a subcategory of blessings which I call curses. And this is the first curse card that you've seen. It's called bondage. The idea of a curse, like just as a blessing makes your life better, a curse is something that makes your life worse in some specific way and for some specific period of time. It has a very specific kind of a mode of operation, and like blessings, they can be sort of contagious, that there's a couple different ways in which curses sort of travel. But every curse is really a mixed blessing. So every curse has something about it that actually is a benefit that we do actually need, but it also carries with it this sort of side effect, I guess, that it has this pernicious aspect. And the question with curse cards is always what the balance is. Are you in a situation where the benefit of the card is sort of outweighing the cost, or vice versa? And the thing about curse cards, and this is the thing that makes them different, the important thing about curses is that they're sticky. And what I mean by sticky is that they're hard to shake. So even if you're in a situation in which things have gotten sort of askew or off balance and the cost of the thing has started to outweigh the benefit, you can't just shake it off, right? You can't just say, no, thank you. You have to do something. You have to do some work. You have to invest something in order to kind of lift the curse, I guess. In the case of bondage, so this is the first card in the House of Law. Remember, there are 8 houses. Each house has one throne card, and then the other 7 cards are dominion cards, and one of those dominion cards in each house is called the curse. This house is the House of Law, so we talked mostly about the House of Life. It has to do with our kind of biological, fleshly and embodied nature as humans. The House of Law generally has to do with rules, conventions, precedents. So this is the throne of the House of Law, and she's called the arbiter. It just means like judge or referee, the person who decides based on what the laws are, what's what. And it turns out that part of the essence of the law, what it means to be lawful, is that there are consequences for people who try to break the law. That's just what a law is. A law is something that you have to do, and if you try not, or a thing that you can't do, and if you try to go against that law, something happens, right? And that's called the consequence, and that's what the principle of bondage is about. So the principle is the enforcement of the law, which is sort of part of what it means to be a law, and the virtue or the upshot, the result, the benefit is condemnation. What's condemnation? So condemnation is kind of a generic word for a certain kind of consciousness, right? Guilt consciousness, sin consciousness, an experience of having done something wrong. So the benefit of bondage is that people follow the law. The cost or the consequence is that it introduces this consciousness of breaking the law, or the possibility of breaking the law. And there are times when the consciousness of guilt, of being afraid to break the law, being afraid of transgressing, or blaming others who are, oh, you're transgressing, you're breaking the law. There's a time when those kinds of consciousnesses are so costly that cause us suffering, and that suffering gets to a point where it outweighs whatever the benefit was of just enforcing the law, which is just what it was for. So when that happens, can you just say, no, I'm just going to stop feeling guilty? No, of course not. It's sticky. It's hard to break out of that sin card. There's something you have to do, right? And actually, these other cards have a couple of different suggestions, I guess, for what you can do, or other kinds of magical spells that you can use to break out of, or really to rebalance, reintegrate, because you don't ever want to get rid of bondage. You can't not have enforcement of the law. Otherwise, the whole concept of law would just dissolve, disintegrate, right? So what we need is a way to kind of correct the balance, put things back on kind of equal footing. And that's what I hope these cards are for. So this is the last thing I'm going to say about what these cards are and what they're about. That the blessings are there to, to give you a way to kind of make your life better, or appreciate the good things in your life. But there's also these curses, right? There's also these things in our lives that we can't just do away with. What we want to do is integrate them. We want to find a way in which to incorporate these different dimensions in our lives in the most harmonious way possible. So you get the blessings to, to make your life better, and the curses, we can make them less bad, I guess, less of a curse, by kind of putting it in balance with those other elements. So that's the end of this series. Thank you for listening, and good luck.